All right, we're about to dive into the grand finale of one of the most epic narratives ever told. We're talking about Revelation chapter 20, the part of the story that details the final, absolute elimination of evil. It's intense, it's a huge turning point, and it answers a question that's been on people's minds for thousands of years. I mean, really think about that. What does that ultimate moment actually look like when the cosmic battle is finally over? Well, Revelation 20 gives us this dramatic, step-by-step account of how it all goes down. So, here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to see a cosmic lockdown, then a 1,000-year reign of peace, then, get this, one final, shocking rebellion, followed by the ultimate judgment, and finally the end of death itself. It's a lot, so let's get into it. First things first, the story's main antagonist, Satan, is finally taken off the board. After millennia of deception and influence, it all just stops. But the way it happens, that's what's really fascinating. Pay close attention to who gets this job. It's not God the Father, it's not Jesus, it's not even a big-name archangel like Michael. Nope. Just a single, unnamed angel is sent down. And that right there is a massive statement about the true power structure of the universe. And make no mistake, this isn't some temporary timeout. The text uses 5 very specific, very final words here. He is laid hold of, he's bound, he's cast into the pit, he's shut up, and he's sealed. There is zero ambiguity here. His ability to influence the world is completely and totally cut off. And here's where the theological genius of the story really comes through. The scholar Leon Morris points out that this detail is deliberate. It's meant to put Satan in his proper place. He's not some cosmic rival to God. He's just a created being who can be handled by a single messenger. So, with the great deceiver locked away, what happens on Earth? What does a world finally free from that constant, nagging, evil influence actually look like? Well, this kicks off a brand new era, a period known as the Millennium. The Millennium, as it's described here, is a literal 1,000-year period of peace and justice. You have Christ and his resurrected followers reigning on Earth, and for the first time in human history, people are living in a world completely free from any kind of satanic deception. Now, it's really important to know there are different ways theologians look at this. You have amillennialism, for instance, which sees the 1,000 years as symbolic for the time we're in now. But for our purposes here, we're focusing on the premillennial view, which takes this literally, that Christ will physically return to Earth before this 1,000-year kingdom kicks off. So what does life look like in this kingdom? Well, it's a completely transformed world. Israel becomes the leading nation, justice is perfectly enforced, war is a thing of the past, even nature is changed, with predators becoming peaceful. But, and this is probably the most crucial detail of all, people are still born with a sinful human nature. The environment is perfect, but the core problem inside of humanity is still there. And that just begs the question, right? If you've created a perfect world on the outside, why do you still need this strictly enforced government? Well, this whole setup is designed to prove something absolutely fundamental about the human heart. Because after 1,000 years of perfect peace and justice, something absolutely unbelievable happens. One last, desperate rebellion. Yeah, you heard that right. At the end of the millennium, Satan is released. And you have to ask, why? Why on earth would you do that? Well, it's for one final test, to reveal what is truly in the hearts of people who have known nothing but a perfect world under the perfect rule of Christ. And the result is just staggering. Even after 1,000 years of peace and prosperity, Satan has zero trouble raising a massive army. This is the ultimate proof of the book's central argument. The problem was never the environment, or poverty, or bad government. The problem is the rebellious human heart, which, even in paradise, can choose to reject God. So you have this enormous rebellion, but it's not really a battle. As this massive army surrounds Jerusalem, the beloved city, the end is just instantaneous. Fire comes down from heaven, and the entire rebellion is just gone. It's a swift, final, absolute judgment. And that is it for Satan. He's thrown into the lake of fire for good. And the text makes a point to mention that the beast and the false prophet, who were thrown in 1,000 years earlier, are still there. That's a really significant detail, because it argues against the idea of annihilation and for a state of eternal, conscious punishment. So, with Satan permanently out of the picture, the stage is now set for the final, awe-inspiring judgment of humanity. And the imagery here is just overwhelming. John sees this throne that is so pure, so powerful, so holy, that the very fabric of the created universe, the earth and the heavens, literally flee from its presence. There's nowhere left to run, nowhere left to hide. Now, it's important to clarify a distinction the Bible makes. It talks about two different judgments. There's the judgment seat of Christ, which is for believers, and it's about assessing their life for rewards. But the great white throne, that's for unbelievers. And it isn't a trial to see if they're guilty. Guilt is already assumed. This is a sentencing. So how does it all play out? Well, the process is pretty direct. The first and only question that determines a person's eternal fate is this: is your name in the book of life? If the answer is no, then other books are opened, books that have recorded all of their works. But those works don't save them. They just form the basis for the degree of punishment before the final sentence is handed down. Okay, so we've seen the end of Satan, the end of rebellion, but the story takes it one final step further. It moves on to the elimination of the last enemy, the most relentless enemy of all, death itself. And this is where it gets really wild. In this stunning final act, the very concepts of death and Hades, the realm of the dead, are treated like they're actual entities. They are gathered up and thrown into the lake of fire. And this final act is given a name: the second death. It is the death of death itself. The scholar Henry Alford just perfectly sums up the absolute finality of this moment. He wrote, "As there is a second and higher life, so there is also a second and deeper death. And as after that life there is no more death, so after that death there is no more life." It doesn't get more final than that. So after all of that, this is where we're left. Every last trace of evil, rebellion, and decay has been completely purged from creation. The slate is wiped clean, which leaves us all with the ultimate question. With the old world and all of its brokenness gone forever, what in the world comes next?